Hello everybody, welcome back to another light novel review. Today I am talking about volume number 7 of Reki Kawahara's Sword Art Online. This one subtitled Mother's Rosario, although if you're buying this Yen Press official version it will say Mother's Rosary. I'm going to address that later on in the video, but anyway, let's talk about this book. So this one a little bit different. It's a self-contained story. The last 4 volumes have both been sort of 2-part storylines, so this one is a single volume, self-contained story. In this one, we focus much more on Asuna. Kirito is hardly in the book at all. And in this book, Asuna hears about a rumor about this absolute sword. So this individual who is challenging people to sword duels within Elfheim Online. And she actually finds out that Kirito himself lost to this individual. And so at the prompting of her friends, Asuna decides, what the heck, I want to see for myself. She decides to give it a try. When she faces the absolute sword, it turns out to be a small young girl. And even though Asuna doesn't really win per se, the girl decides that she really likes Asuna and wants her to accompany her on a quest. Now, really, to me, this book could have been subtitled Asuna Becomes a Character, because up until this point, Asuna has really just filled a certain archetypal role. In the Aincrad storyline, she was the cool, strong, pretty, I make good food idol to be sort of like that wish fulfillment, the hot girl who falls for the geeky dude who's good at video games. In the Elfheim Online, she is the damsel in distress. In Gungale Online, she is the dutiful girlfriend who stands on the sidelines, and really, like, the most impressive thing she does is hold Kirito's hand. Yeah, it's true. I mean, really, up until this point, I wouldn't say that we know a whole lot about Asuna. We don't know a real ton about her as a person. She's always been sort of this character that we know Kirito sort of supposedly loves, as much as Kirito seems to love anybody, but she's not really been that well fleshed out. We don't know what her real thoughts are and her feelings, and this book finally gives us a little bit of that. It finally gives us a storyline where Asuna is able to rise to being an actual character, where she proves to be useful to a group of individuals, and where in working with these individuals, she grows and develops and learns much about herself as a person. It also doesn't hurt that this is probably one of the most emotionally centered books in the Sword Art Online storyline so far. It's really not devoted to action or who's the killer or who will die next or all this kind of stuff. It's really at its core about this developing friendship between two girls and what that friendship means to each of them, and how that friendship gives them strength to deal with difficulties in their life and to become better as individuals and stronger as individuals. And in this way, I think it's probably to this point now, I know there's a ton of Sword Art Online books after this, but in terms of the novels that have been released in the English language market officially, I'd have to say that I think this is my favorite one so far. First of all, it doesn't have quite the same, let me think, like Sword Art often is solved by conveniences. Often by the fact that Kirito is so flippin' OP that who the hell can really beat this guy? And even though there is sort of one point where his OP-ness comes into play in this, it's not used, it's not the central point of the story. And to me, that made it a lot better. They're seeing characters that we haven't spent as much time with. Like I said, actually seeing Asuna as a thinking character as opposed to just this thing that Kirito has to chase after, or, you know, being just sort of this dutiful little girlfriend, even though, you know, he's running around with this really hot blue-haired sniper. Yeah. In any case, so far, like I said, for me, this is the best Sword Art Online story overall. I like the fact it was nice and compact. It didn't go too long. He didn't try to drag it out over 2 books, which it really didn't need to be 2 books. It had a very good emotional core. The story was far more about relationships as opposed to just ass kickery. We had characters that, even though they were strong, they had a lot of challenges in other ways that made them interesting and vulnerable. Overall, I really liked this one. Just, you know, I want to comment for a quick second, and I'll try to keep it as non-spoilery as possible. There's a reason that this book is called Mother's Rosary. And the thing is that if you look at every English translation that's happened before this, whether it be by fans, whether it be in the anime, all of them call this storyline Mother's Rosario, not Mother's Rosary like you'll see on the front of this book. And what's really weird to me is that in the book, the thing that sort of this whole Mother's Rosary comes from, they call it Mother's Rosario in the book. So I was like, why you gotta confuse us fans, man? Why? Why you gotta make it difficult? It's a little rant, and I mean, it's not a big deal. I mean, if you're familiar with Sword Art Online, you're going to know who the character on the front cover is. You're going to know what this storyline is. And if you're not familiar with Sword Art Online, you probably don't care whether it's Mother's Rosario or Mother's Rosary. So, whatever. It's all good. Like I said, I thought it was a pretty good one. Probably one of my favorites so far. I liked the new characters that were introduced in the book. I mean, really, only one of them shines and gets a lot of focus, which really for this story is exactly as it should be. And I really enjoyed that this one focused much more on actual emotions and bonds as opposed to how is Kirito going to kick some ass this time. So those are my thoughts on volume number 7 of Sword Art Online. I hope you liked the video. My next review will be on volume number 3 of Strike the Blood. We're going to get back into a little bit of vampire kick-assery as opposed to sword art kick-assery. I read a lot of books where, you know, people kick ass apparently. But anyway, so Strike the Blood, volume number 3, that will be next week. I hope you'll join me for it. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to click on subscribe so you can check out not only this, but all of my future light novel reviews, including future volumes of Sword Art Online. Just as an aside, Sword Art Online volume number 8, I will not be doing a review of it. I might as well just say that right now if you've watched this whole video, because Sword Art Online volume 8 is 3 short stories. I believe 2 are set during Aincrad and 1 is set in Alfheim Online. I'm not really that interested in reading it. I did see those storylines done in the anime, and I'm pretty fine with that. I don't think I need to read it. However, volume number 9 begins the Alexei'S storyline, which is a massive arc that just finished in Japan. It's like 9 or more volumes. So that one is going to be out in December in the English language market. I will definitely be jumping on volume number 9, but don't be disheartened if I'm not doing volume number 8, because like I said, it's not really the main storyline and the continuation of the story after this volume number 7. So again, click on subscribe if you're new. That was kind of long-winded. I've got links to all my old light novel reviews as well as my manga reviews, and I don't just read books, I like to write them too. You can check those out. I've got a link to little self-promo there. Thank you so much for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you next time. Till then, bye-bye for now.